Hi travelers, Tara here, and as you can see I have a super long, what do you call it, title up here, but there's a lot happening within the next 24 to 48 hours. Today is the 19th of March, and so this reading today is going to be the Pisces New Moon, which occurs tomorrow. And then on the 21st, we have a 29-degree Aries Hybrid Solar Eclipse, and that's really, really interesting. And then, of course, it's also the Spring Equinox on the 21st. So there's a lot happening astrologically over the next 48 hours. And so we're going to do a reading on that. But before we get started, I wanted to talk to you guys about eclipses. Back when I had my website, you guys hope you downloaded the Eclipse Survival Guide, which is the list of eclipses out to I forget what year, and then there are some tips in there for you. But since I don't have the website up anymore, I'm just going to share a bit of information about the eclipse, because everybody talks about eclipses, people get all freaked out, and there really is no reason to get freaked out. The first thing you need to know is that whenever there's an eclipse, no matter where it falls, what sign, what degree, what part of the world, okay, everyone on earth is under the influence of this, because we live under the influence of the luminaries, the sun, the moon. Of course, we live on earth, some of us do anyway, and the stars. So everyone is affected in some way, shape, or form. Now, first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the difference between eclipses, because I know that can be kind of confusing. So you have total, I can't speak, you have a total eclipse, you have a lunar eclipse, you have a solar eclipse, and a lunar eclipse. Those are the two main types. But underneath those two main types, you can have a total eclipse, an annular eclipse, and a partial eclipse. Okay, so it'll be a partial solar or total lunar. So they're all different. There's these different types of eclipses. So a solar eclipse is when the moon, the moon stands between the sun and the earth, and it cuts off the light of the sun. Okay, that's a solar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the earth stands between the moon and the sun, cutting off the light of the sun from the moon. You have to remember that the moon doesn't actually have light. It's simply light being reflected from the sun. Okay, so think about that for a minute. Now, that's the difference between a solar and a lunar eclipse. But then you have a total eclipse. And a total eclipse occurs when the moon will appear as large as the sun, completely blocking the face of the sun. So this is why when we have a total eclipse, it goes dark for a little bit, or it looks like dusk depending on where you are. Okay. An annular eclipse occurs when the moon appears slightly smaller than the sun, thereby not completely covering the sun. Okay. And so what will happen is that as a result of this, the moon will appear like a dot on top of a large bright disk. Okay. And it creates this halo around the moon. And I'm sure you've all seen that. Okay. We'll be having one of those, an annular eclipse, on the 14th October of this year. Now, a partial eclipse happens when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. But the moon, the sun, and the earth are not lined up exactly, perfectly lined up. So only part of the sun will appear to be covered. And this will mean that the sun has a crescent shape. Okay? But then you have this rare eclipse called a hybrid solar. And this is a rare eclipse. And by rare, it's not like extra spooky or extra scary. It's just that it doesn't happen very often. That's the meaning of rare. Okay? Because the Earth's surface is curved, right? We know that it's curved. Then when an eclipse occurs, it can shift between an annular, where the moon will appear as a disk in front of the sun. And then as it continues its path across the Earth, it turns into a total. And this is where it completely blocks the face of the sun. So this is a rare event. We're going kind of like from light to dark to light to dark. Okay. Now, what you need to know about eclipses, I'm just going to give you a few little tidbits, is that first of all, the job of an eclipse is to shine a light of truth on a certain area of your life that's going to be touched, okay? And with all eclipses, something ends and something else begins. Eclipses fall across a series or axes of signs. So the one that's going to be occurring on the 21st will be the start of the Aries Libra axis. We will have 4 eclipses this year across the Aries Libra axis, okay? And because they fall in the same sign throughout the course of the year, it's like stringing a strand of pearls on a necklace, because there's going to be a theme involved with those, all right? Now, eclipses will tend to bring up some kind of random event that you did not expect or didn't know about. But what you need to realize is that it's being triggered by something that's happening someplace else. In other words, it's going to be something completely out of your control. But at eclipse time, it will bring vast changes straight to your doorstep. So given this, any changes, endings, or beginnings, look at those as non-negotiable. It is firm. It is a done deal. This is why I was telling you back in the day, you break up with somebody under eclipse, don't beg to get back with them. Don't do it, because that person's not supposed to be in your life anymore. Okay? Which this is the next point. Usually when eclipses occur, something important or someone important to you will be eclipsed out of your life. This can be fantastic and great if you've been in a bad relationship, an abusive relationship. It could even work across jobs. Maybe you've been in a crappy job where the people haven't been appreciating you. And this eclipse, you get fired under the eclipse. Well, don't try to beg or go back to get your job back. It's supposed to be that that's the time that you're done. And now there's something new for you to begin. And usually when eclipses eclipse something out of your life, it always has a second act, which will bring something bigger and better and greater for you. You just have to go with the energy. Do not make any ultimatums or decisions underneath an eclipse. Same thing like I tell you, don't make any big decisions under a full moon. It's a highly emotional time, and eclipses bring up emotions. So, because you have the moon involved. So, make note of that. Wait if you can until after, because you're not going to be able to see what's coming ahead. All right? That's what eclipses do. They obscure things. So you're not going to be able to see what's coming ahead. So try not to make any ultimatums or decisions. Now, if an eclipse falls on your birthday or within 5 days of your birthday, the following year is going to be really important to you. Okay? And usually when eclipses fall in the same element as your sun sign, and when I say element, I mean whether you are a fire sign, air sign, water sign, earth sign, when eclipse falls in the same element, this is usually helpful to you, okay? Now, the cool thing about eclipses is that every 19 years, they repeat at nearly the exact degree and the same sign, okay? So the 4 eclipses coming up each year, every year that we have an eclipse, will arrive in the same degree, the sign, and the precise day as that happened 19 years ago. And if you print out the chart, you can go to astro.com and print out the free eclipse table that they have there for you. And you can go back and look to see what happened 19 years ago, when that eclipse fell, and then go back 19 years and you'll see, fell at the same degree, the same sign on the same day. Maybe plus or minus a day, occasionally. Now, don't be too quick to pronounce an eclipse good or bad, because as I say, there's a second act. Usually it's obscuring something that you can't see, and there's a second act to follow. A lot of people want to know, well, am I going to get the message on the day of the eclipse? Maybe somebody will, maybe you won't. But still pay attention. If you get any news or signs or messages, pay attention, because it could take weeks for you to understand what's being shown to you. Eclipses can help you do things that you never thought you can do. You want to lose a whole bunch of weight, but you don't want to go under the knife. The eclipse falls across, a particular house or something, or in a sign that represents health or the way you look, then, you might decide to quit smoking and become a distance runner. So it can help you do things that you never thought you could do. And keep in mind, as I say, that not all eclipses across the axes will affect you. Some people will, some people won't. It's going to come down to the math. And when I say the math, that is what's in your chart. And so I don't have room to put in the about box section about charts, but you can purchase charts for me so that you'll know your numbers. You'll know what your moon sign is, your rising sign is, what degrees those sit at. And separately, you can purchase a natal report that comes with the chart, but it also tells you exactly what's happening for you. It lays out who you are astrologically by sign and by house. Okay. So if you are interested in that, as well as buying a personal reading, you can simply contact me at that email address, hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com. Email me and say, hey, Tara, I want a chart, or I want a chart and a natal report. Okay. And then I'll email you back with the prices and we can go from there. And that's usually instantaneous. I just have to plug the information in, and you have to know your birth time. Okay. It's not one of those things where you can come to me and say, hey, I had somebody divine it with a pendulum. That may be great and it may be accurate, but you have to know your birth time, because being off by 10 or 15 minutes can completely change the rising sign. And that's really the most important thing that we're looking at when we're reading charts. If you are interested in a reading, because all the readings that I do are general, and that means I'm reading for so many people watching you, the story can't be true for everybody. And so if you want to know something, and you don't have to wait until I post your reading, you can purchase a private reading from me. You go to the About box section of the channel. I have the reading packages listed, which would be the number of minutes, the number of questions, and the price. And again, you contact me at hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com, and you say, Tara, I want the 1 hour reading, and then I will email you back quickly. I'll respond back typically within 24 hours, okay? So now that I've given you a bit of information about eclipses, this reading is going to be about the Pisces New Moon. It's going to include the Aries Hybrid, the 29-degree Aries Hybrid Solar Eclipse, and also the Spring Equinox. We're moving into astronomical spring. Now, I've been studying astrology with my colleague and friend Jessica Adams, and she uses the natural astrology. So what does Aries mean? Aries is going to be anything that is related to your face, your shape, your weight, your makeup, your hair color, your wardrobe, your social media, your pictures, however it is that you want to present yourself to the world, okay? And being at 29 degrees is the anaretic degree. So this is going to be a huge, major life shifting for some of you, eclipse for some of you. It's going to depend on what you have going on in your life, okay? Some of you may not be on social media, may not care about that, but let's say some of you want to, I've been thinking about cutting my hair and dyeing it a lighter color, okay? And that could change, that can open doors for you in other areas of your life. And so this is about that, and then it's also about the astronomical spring that we are now moving into, okay? So I have with me the Radiant White deck. I have with me the Levita Sibila, and I don't know what the reading is going to be about. So that was going to, whatever the story is going to determine what oracle card that I end the reading with. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I have done some pretty extensive meditation on, let's see if I can get it to, well, of course, I turned it around too fast. Done some extensive meditation on the events, the astronomical events. And so, before I get started, I need some scents and some light. I meant to have this going before I got started, so that we can help the guides come in. Okay. One other thing, quickly. I don't know if you guys remember the Great American Eclipse on August 21st. Let me turn the camera back around. Of 2017. Okay? The Great American Eclipse. had been years since there had been an eclipse, a total eclipse across America. And it started on the West Coast and went all the way across America. That was in the sign of Leo. Well, if you guys remember, we just had the 2016 election. The Great American Eclipse happened in the sign of Leo. And what we didn't know, right? What we didn't know after having the election is that the new leader that we were going to be electing would be exhibiting the dark side of Leo. The dark side of Leo is, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Schadenfreude. This is where you like to kick people and laugh when they're down. You belittle people. You are highly competitive. You want to set yourself up as a king or set yourself up as a dictator. It's all about power and control issues. At the same time, because we had Pluto in Capricorn, now kings and queens and royalty are ruled by Leo. But we were having that transit of Pluto in Capricorn, which rules leaders and heads of states. And what we got was a leader and a head of state who was exhibiting, even though he's a Sun Gemini, was exhibiting the dark side of Leo. So that eclipse obscured all of that. We had no clue what we were getting, and we didn't know how it was going to affect us. But also, Pluto in Capricorn brought about the idea of the rise of the dictator. So we saw this all over the world, but it really started with Donald Trump, number 45. Y'all know I like saying his name. With his behavior, once he came in and made these odd behaviors, these things normal, then we saw other leaders across the world starting to exhibit the same thing. And so that's how eclipses can come in and affect you. And as I say, don't matter what your political persuasion, what your religious belief, what your sun, moon, or rising sign is, what your socioeconomic status is, your educational level is, we're all under the influence of the sun, the moon, and the stars. And it affects all of us at some point. So that is how eclipses work. So keep that in mind. Now let me slowly turn this around, and we're going to go ahead and shuffle and put another rifle on the cards again and just see what they have to say. Well, King of Coins has presented himself. He's kind of sideways, so I don't know if he's upright or reverse. I'm going to put it upright. You know I don't read reverse cards. And if it's the reverse, it's going to feel that way to me. Okay? I read energies, not cards. All right. Here we go. The Eight of Cups. Now, for those of you who did not know, this is the only eclipsed moon in the deck. So, there's our timing. The Hanged Man. Here is our representation of Pisces. We know that we have a Pisces New Moon. Next row. The Three of Pentacles. The Magician. The Six of Pentacles. The Page of Wands. So now I have two court cards. The King of Wands. And the Eight of Pentacles. Well now, that is quite the spread. There are no swords here. Okay? What is the energy over the entire reading? The Seven of Pentacles. Wow, so we're completely laden down with pentacles here, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pentacles in the spread, 2 wands, 2 major arcana, and a cup card. Now, let me put my thing on so I don't go over too far. So right in the center, I have the Magician card. And the Magician card is a card about the ego. And what I mean by that is, it is the idea of being able to direct your will, direct your ego, direct your will to do something. As above, so below. As I often tell you, nothing in this world was created without first it being a thought. Somebody had to think it up. And because we have our own brains and our own egos, we are always creating thoughts. Okay? They flit in, they flit out. Sometimes we're able to, when we're creating something new, a project, then we're actually directing our thoughts into our will. We're pulling the energy out of the air from our thoughts, and we're actually doing something about it. But sometimes we, our mind just flits off and on, and our thoughts are willy-nilly. We're not even aware that we're consciously creating thoughts. So as above, so below. This is the idea that if you can think it, you can do it. But also, if you can think it, you can do it. So in other words, if it's negative thoughts, if it's bad thoughts, then you can cause or create negative or bad things to happen. If you are more conscious about the way you are thinking, not necessarily just positively thinking or positive affirmations, but catching yourself to say, I'm going to think in a different way, one in which I can direct my thoughts in a more positive manner, then positive things are created. As you can see, he has all of the tools that he needs to get the job done. So I've seen this show up when people are learning new skills, when there are new ideas coming in, when you are actively creating something, okay? I've also seen this card show sometimes when it talks about someone who's pretending to be something that they're not, like they pretend to know everything, they know how to do everything, but they don't have the skills or the knowledge in order to get that. That's the trickster energy of the Magician, ruled by the sign, by the planet Mercury. So what we have going on is something in the center where we're being asked to create something. Now, two kings typically mean projects and ideas, okay? So two kings can mean that two guys are going together, they're going to get together, they're coming up with some kind of project or some kind of business deal, there's something that they're working on, and this is usually a positive thing, okay? Now, even if you are female watching this, maybe you run your own business, or maybe you handle all the finances for your household, or maybe you're single and you're working your job and handling your finances. So we can all, even as females, embody the energies of kings. This is a more outward directed energy, whereas the queen energy is a more internal directed energy. That's another thing about this particular solar hybrid eclipse, is this is going to be about external changes, not necessarily internal changes, but external changes, okay? And that's going to require us to really dig deep and direct our will and our ego. Now I have the King of Pentacles here, an earth sign king, normally Taurus, but can also be a Capricorn and or a Virgo. He is typically a business owner. This is not the guy, he's wealthy, but he's not the guy who was born with wealth. This is the guy who worked for it and he earned it. He can be a banker, a mortgage loan, a venture capitalist guy. He can be, like I said, built his business from the ground up. Typically, he can be an accountant. He typically has something to do with finance or money, okay? And if not finances and money, then what this is about is somebody who knows how to build things, who knows how to do things. The pentacles are not necessarily always about finances. They are about the third dimensional doing of things, okay? But there's something past, present, future, past, present, future. There's something that occurred with this particular king here, perhaps 8 months ago, okay? He decided that what he was doing was not fulfilling to him anymore, or it wasn't bringing him the kind of contentment and joy perhaps that he used to. So he decides to walk away. And I say 8 months ago because the cups typically represent months. I think what I find striking about this card is that the person just kind of walks off at night with only the clothes on their back in search of something else. Okay, this is the eclipsed moon. And we know that the eclipsed moon, we're having this hybrid solar eclipse. What is this individual walking away from? Well, I don't know what they're walking away from, but here's what they're walking into. The Hanged Man, a moment where everything feels as though it's on hold, that life is just floating. The Hangman is a card about trying to view things from a higher or a different perspective. Maybe there has been clouded thinking. Maybe there has been illusions. Maybe there has been disillusionment with what this particular king has been doing or attempted to do. And now he needs to get clear on what it is he wants to do. Does he want to continue to be a martyr and to sacrifice, I don't know, his time, his energy, and whatever it is he's amassing, he's accruing, or he's building? I don't know. Maybe he decides he doesn't want to do that anymore. So the Hangman can also, it could be that maybe he has to stop because he's been having some physical ailments, vertigo or headaches, migraines, back pain, hip pain, knee pain, leg pain, foot pain, ankle pain. And so he has to suspend himself. He has to stop so that he can get clear on what it is that he's trying to do. Okay? Next row, we see the Three of Pentacles, the laying of the foundation stone. Okay? And this card talks about three people, and indeed we have the three people showing up here, and there's three people over here, right? And this card talks about teamwork. It talks about cooperation. It talks about getting together with other people to go over. So it's about planning. It's about writing out your plans, being able to logically put your plans into place, and maybe having to go to somebody who has a bit more experience. He's up on that bench. So they come with the plans. Hey, this is what we want to do. Do we have enough money? Can we change it? What is it going to cost? What do we need to buy? Is it going to take new materials? So it's that kind of an energy. And then the Magician. This is the idea of bringing it all together. And then dispensing it out. Here we have the Six of Pentacles. This card is about, first of all, sharing. I call this the philanthropy card because this implies that at some point either you are going to be in a financial position to help others, or that someone else is going to be able to come in and be in a financial position to help you at some point. So it is about kindness, generosity, sharing, almost like the Six of Cups. But this is more in instead of an emotional realm, this is more in the actual doing. Maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you don't have a lot of money, but you can certainly roll up your sleeves, get out there and put in some sweat equity to help someone else out, right? So it's that particular kind of energy. Now, what I find interesting is I go from the 3 to 6. There's 3 pentacles gained here, but it's gained because of the energy of the Magician. All right. What keeps coming across is I'm hearing it's gold. It's like the plans are solid. It's gold. You can bank on it. That's what my guides were saying to me. Then I come to the Page of Wands. Now, all pages for me, as well as knights, and there's a difference, but all pages and knights represent news and messages for me. The knights represent an event, but that event is presaged by news or message. So you get the news from the knight, and then the knight moves that situation along. But here we simply have the idea of news or message coming in. Now, usually with the Page of Wands, and it is a fire sign, by the way, the Page of Wands brings news that maybe will spark your creativity, new ideas, a new passion coming in, because to me that's what the wands represent. Passion, determination, focus, the fire in your belly, that creative energy that comes when, you know, there's something really good or something really new or something exciting for you. It also talks about going on a new spiritual journey. Well, we can say with these two cards, perhaps that is true. But then we are met by this King of Wands, and directionality is important. Directionality, he's faced towards the past. Remember, past, present, future, interplay of the cards. So who is the King of Wands? Fire sign would typically be a Leo, but can also be an Aries and a Sagittarius. This is the entrepreneurial. He's a philanthropy king, so to speak, He's the entrepreneurial king. Okay? In other words, this guy doesn't necessarily have one business. He may have 6 or 7 businesses, different things happening all at one time. He's got people working under him. They delegate. He can be hasty. He can be rash, but he's always full of passion and fire and can be a known leader for people. But he's looking at this page or this message, so I'm not quite sure what's happening here. And on the back side, I have the 8 of Pentacles, the card of the artisan and or the craftsman. I've seen this card show up when people are wanting to change careers. You know, not like, I don't want to call it a midlife crisis, but they've been doing one thing for 20 years and they decide they're going to quit and go do something else. Okay. This card is literally about making money, right? You see him making money. So this could be about selling wares. It is a card of the apprentice. So this could mean that maybe if you quit your job and go someplace else, you got to start over. You're going to have to start at the bottom, but we all have to start someplace. But the idea is that you do this work. It brings you joy. It brings you happiness. So you continue to do it. It is an 8. It is a karmic number. 8s represent events will begin to move. It is also a number of money. Okay. But as we can see, the whole reading, the energy is the 7 of Pentacles, waiting for the harvest to come in. Sometimes this card can be, there's going to be an offer put to you, and you're going to have to stop and think very carefully about if you want it, and if you take it, what can you do with it? Okay? You've been tending these little things on this bush, and it seems to be doing quite well. Do I have enough time to add another thing to the bush? Am I going to be able to get out and water it and fertilize it and feed it and take care of it and do all the things that I've already, that I need to do to get it to grow like this? So this card can sometimes be a card, it's a 7, that it's a momentary pause, questioning yourself. Can I, will I, won't I, how can I, should I? That, okay? But it also says that to be patient because better it's on its way to you. Now, I have all of these pentacles here, okay? And I can't necessarily look at these 3 cards because they represent people traditionally. What does that leave me? It leaves me, I have 2 8s here, and I did not see that at first. So 2 8s can be an indication that you're going to receive news that affects the relationship. Well, this could be any kind of relationship, really. Maybe this is 2 same-sex men not only getting together and working, but ending up becoming lovers. I don't know. Every story is different, right? And the other meaning of the 2 8s is, one second, let me find my book. The other meaning of the 2 8s, let me see if I can find an 8 anywhere in this book. A slight concern in regards to a new romance, relationship, or partnership. And as I said, 2 kings are talking about projects and partnerships here. So on the one hand, this can most definitely be the idea of some kind of third dimensional work, business, financial project. But there can also be an implication, it could turn out to be a friendship, or it could turn out to be, you meet somebody new through a project, okay? So it just depends. And even as I said, if you are female, this could be 2 females, or if you identify with the female role. Same thing. You both are handling your business. You're doing it in different ways. You come together, you meet, okay? The reason why I'm saying there could be some romance here, because of the sharing aspect of that, what's being done, and in which case this is the idea of a balance between the two. Someone who's going to help you balance out yourself, and you're going to be able to balance them out, and together the 2 of you can do good, okay? That may seem like a stretch, but this is what my guides are telling you. So let's get to the 8 of Cups, shall we? To see if there's anything. Here it is. Well, first, let me give you a few. This is an indication that a new interest is on its way into your life. This could be by way of personal relationships or the exciting experience of new knowledge gained. It indicates that plans of the past may not be relevant today, and new plans will need to be made, which will in turn leave the past behind. Within your personal relationships, it speaks to positive changes that will bring you a stress-free and harmonious time. It indicates an overall improved perspective in many areas of your life. But the card also indicates a situation where the only solution is to let go entirely. Regardless of how much energy or effort has been put into it, if it is still not working, the only option is to abandon it. Do not waste any more of your time or effort. Appearing with the Magician. The Eight of Cups tells of someone who has within his grasp the ability to reach their goals. It is informing you that you have the ability to reach your full potential. It also asks that you think and consider very carefully before making any important major decisions, which is what I told you at the beginning. Now remember I said there's something about this king facing this news as if he's blocking the news, okay? It says here, do not allow others to sway or hinder you, as only you know what is right for you, so stick to your guns. There you have it. Three of Pentacles. And I'm going to look at this particular king because he's kind of throwing up a blocking energy. I don't know why that would be. Here we go, the Three of Pentacles. Nothing about the Three of Pentacles with the Magician or the Hanged Man. The Three of Pentacles says, it is an indication that your efforts will finally be rewarded. There is recognition and award or reward for your skills, talents, and or abilities. It indicates an excellent time for construction or renovations to all buildings, be they homes, office buildings, sheds, and the likes. It represents teamwork and people working together towards a common goal. It can signify a need for planning and forethought and can be a sign to slow down and consider things carefully before taking action rather than taking on more than you can handle. Well, I see this. And to me, this is a pause. It's not an obstacle or a hassle or a delay. This is a pause while you go back to the drawing board. This is what I'm being shown, okay? Now, Six of Pentacles. I only have two Wands cards, correct? Yes. Okay. So the Six of Pentacles, a generous offer arises for you to consider. It is a most auspicious time to look into all avenues that intrigue you. Opportunity for promotion or advancement could present itself to you, which could bring you long-term financial gain. It implies that assistance will come when it is most needed. This may manifest as a sudden win or windfall, or finances becoming available at the most appropriate time. It implies that you will be in a position where you will be able to assist others financially. It says that your hopes, dreams, and plans for the future are right on track. It tells of the generosity shown to others at this time will reap karmic benefits threefold. That's the additional Three Pentacles here. Okay? That's the karmic reward. Either you being able to pay someone back or someone coming to pay you back for something done in the past. Eight of Pentacles. How many pentacles do I have here? Eight of Pentacles with three other pentacles and even with four pentacles. Okay, so the Eight of Pentacles with the Hanged Man ask you to have no fear and do not be afraid to pursue your goals. It is a most auspicious time to do so, so make the most of it. It may also be telling you to act quickly. The timing is right for you to pursue your goals. Push your fears aside and take up the challenge. The Three of Pentacles with three other pentacles. is an indication that a feeling of great satisfaction will be yours, as there will be a well-earned increase in finances. If I want to add in this fourth pentacle, it indicates an increase in finances and a feeling of great satisfaction. Now, the Eight of Pentacles asks you to persist, as there is a great deal of experience and learning. It tells of studying or learning a skill, trade, or profession. Dedication and concentrated effort will be needed. Put in the required effort and you will reap the rewards for your efforts. Eights indicate that there's a focus on the building of solid foundations for future successes. It implies that you will be justified in having high hopes for the future, as present situations and ventures are going well, and the outlook for the future is good. Now, sometimes this card can be an indication that you've been toiling and putting in a lot of effort into your work, but you may not be receiving the financial rewards due you at this time. But rest assured, your hard work will pay dividends in short time. Now, again, I want to caution you that the pentacles are not always necessarily finances or come to you in a financial way. It could be that, you begin to get noticed. Your name kind of gets out there. People, word of mouth gets around that you're really good at what you do, and that brings an increase in business. So this can play out any kind of way. I want something that the Hanged Man is telling me, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull cards on this, because I just kind of feel like he might be trying to throw a wrench in the plans. Answers that have eluded you become clear, and solutions to problems are found. It implies the ability to view things from a higher perspective. It is telling you to be aware of others' motives. Do not allow yourself to be misled. Be prepared to exercise your personal strength and will. It represents a period of rest before activity, and it shows the bringing of things to a halt, or to place something in suspension. You may feel as though you are engulfed or powerless in the current situation and are unable to do anything constructive, but go with the flow and submit. Okay? It also tells you that now may not be the right time to try and force movement or change, as to do so is only going to bring obstacles and delays. Patience is called for, and you may have to wait until the timing is more auspicious and for things to change externally before you are able to proceed and succeed. That's what that's telling you. Now, I want to take a quick look, because the truth is, I don't see anything necessarily negative in this, something that you have to watch out for, except for the timing of it. Because it looks like right around this particular eclipse that we're having, this new moon eclipse, someone new pops up. Okay? He comes under this. This could be the guy or the person to really make all your dreams come true. Okay? And instead of being a block to this message, he may be answering the call. All right? So that's why we're going to take a look at this King of Wands. All right? Now, this can't be true for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm going to say it will apply no matter if you are male or female, same-sex or heterosexual, whomever takes the role of you identify with the male or the masculine female. And as a female, you can most definitely embody the energies of these particular kings. These are not two different aspects of the same person. This is a different person than this guy. So let's just see what this king is doing, this King of Wands. If the Sibilas will tell us either what is underlying with him, what his attitude may be, what the purpose is. The desperate jealousy. Remember I said he feels like he's blocking that. The speranza. And the l'amica. Now, even though that's a female card, basically you can just look at that card in a general sense as someone who is trying to help. And what I think this is saying is this is someone coming to another person for some assistance. Why? Because it may be financial ruin. Maybe their collapse of a project that they really had their heart set on. The person could be, about to commit suicide or self-harm because they've really lost a lot of money. And remember, I'm saying he's coming under this eclipse. So there's something that you don't see or know about this particular person. And the hope that the person can find help. That's what this is saying. There's something else that the desperate jealousy is telling me. Doesn't mean you can't help the individual. It just means you want to be cautious about the motives of why the individual is coming to you. Let me find the what number is it? It is the 8 of Spades. So remember I said there are no swords here, but here we are. It shows up in the okay. It describes someone who lacks the spiritual resources to pull themselves through difficult times and hardship. It indicates not being able to see beyond the present moment or even being stuck in the past. It can indicate all forms of self-harm or feelings of guilt, shame, and deep regret. It points to substance abuse as well. It can also symbolize the advanced stage. In other words, it warns of a toxic environment and toxic people around you. You may feel that nobody around you, I'm telling you, it doesn't feel like anything negative falling under the eclipse. You don't know that yet, okay? But it says that the situation and the people invariably turn out to be false and toxic and trying to harm you and cause you ruin. It indicates treachery, slander, gossip, and envy. It warns of danger and danger coming from your circle of acquaintances. Now, financially, this card indicates heavy losses, heavy debt, insolvency, overspending, as well as trouble with the law and sometimes a cutthroat environment. Legally, it can sometimes indicate a judgment being made against you and perhaps criminal proceedings. The card always warns that you are about to trust someone who will ultimately lead you to your ruin. They're going to be coming to you asking you for some kind of assistance. We will take a look here quickly at the Lamika. Usually it's a woman, but in this case, this is a general. It speaks to friendship and loyalty and support. Someone in whom we can trust, who is there to listen and give us good advice. Now, I feel that this card is saying it still has a positive connotation, even reversed. And it indicates in which case it says that the help received will be a material one, namely financial or by means of a personal recommendation. It can also foretell that a person will introduce us to someone who will change the situation around in a positive way, and that we will meet someone who will be able to enable us to fulfill a dream project endeavor by giving us a concrete helping hand. Networking, building positive contacts, especially in financial matters, where it also indicates prosperity and investment that will bear good fruit or an improvement in one's financial circumstances. That may be true, but this individual is coming to you for assistance. And so before you agree, you make an ultimatum or you make a big decision, I would suggest that you sit down, you speak with the individual, get it all down on paper, find out exactly what's happening, and then take your time. Because it just kind of feels like, if you're going into business with this person, it's not that the individual, here we go. It's not that the individual is necessarily going to try to, what's the word? Intentionally tank the project, but it could just be that they don't know what they're doing. They're all talk, they're bluster, they're fronts. Okay? Doesn't mean that the person doesn't have a good idea. Okay? But it just means that's not the person you want to actually do the work. All right? So, formulate your question for the Golden Nostradamus, and let's see what he has to say. I'm sorry this is 50 minutes, but I think you guys needed to hear this. Oh, my cards are upside down. Some kind of way. There we go. And let's see what the Sibilas have to say. If I'm not mistaken, that's the birds. It might be the partridges or something. I'm not exactly sure. Number 28. Let's see what it has. The birds. The damage a man thinks he has endured is actually something that brings value. You may experience a setback or suffer some damage. If you are intelligent and wise enough, you will learn an important lesson and change misfortune into good luck. And that's kind of what that's saying. So there you have it. I hope this helped. I hope even if it didn't apply to you, that you got a chance to learn something, particularly about the eclipses. And so until next time, again, if you're interested in a reading, you can email me there. Go to the About box section for the reading packages. Be well.